Hi, I'm Tom Ernst. Welcome to the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. I'm so glad that you took the time to see WILDHOOD, which I think is easily one of the best Canadian features of this year. And frankly, if I went back a year, I'd probably rank in the top three of last year too. This is a really splendid movie, and I hope you enjoyed it, as much as I did. Even if you enjoyed it half as much as I did, I know you got a lot from it. And I am so pleased that we have three of the film stars with us. Avery Winters, Josh Odjick, and Odjick, and Phillip Lewitski. And I think I got the pronunciations correct, even though, Josh, it took me twice on your name. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. I have talked about this film before to Bretten Hannam, who just amazes me that this is Bretten's first time directing. They did such an incredible job with this movie. You have all worked, I'm not sure about you, Alex, but Avery, you have all worked with other directors before. What was it like working with a first-time director? I'll begin with you, Phillip.
It was, I would say, just as fluid as it was working with any other director. Brett has an ability to just drop into the work deeper than really any other director that I've worked with. And so that made it very seamless and very easy. There was this ease to every day. As we were getting through these extremely difficult days, Brett just sort of had this dance to his directorial style that was just so incredible to witness, so incredible to be a part of, and just grateful to have worked with him.
Well, that is a wonderful way of describing a director's work. I wish he was here. I hope he gets to hear you say that, because that was wonderfully described. I go to you, Josh, and I'll change the question a bit for you. Phillip mentioned that even in the rough days, those rough days, I know you can't read Phillip's mind, but perhaps is that in reference to COVID or from your own experiences? Were the rougher days because of filming around the restrictions of COVID, or just the nature of the film?
Yeah, it was just, sometimes it would be the weather, depending on the weather or the whatever's happening throughout the day, whether, just like things happen and how set goes. But yeah, usually things was probably because of COVID hangups.
Yeah, they were a bit difficult, and you decided to shoot it anyways, going ahead. Avery, excuse me, but is this your first film, or have you been in the business a while?
It's my first bigger film. I have done a few short films, but it was my first like super big on-set experience with like a really big crew.
Intimidating, or was it easy, or was it, like Phillip says, fluid?
I really like Phillip, and I really like Josh and everyone that was on set. So it really, I was never really nervous on set. I kind of got to be myself and work how I wanted to, and everyone adapted to like how I was. So I have no bad things to say about it.
Excellent. It is true that no matter how good of a set can be, there are still issues. But, Brett has come out and said that part of the difficulties with this film is when financiers read about it was an Indigenous story, and it was also a LGBTQ plus story, that it was problematic. I would have thought that by now, we're in 2022, or when they even was making the film, 2020, I believe, that those issues would no longer be pertinent. Were you surprised, Josh, Phillip, or Avery, that this was hard to get off the ground?
In my experience, I feel like from the start we knew it was would be a topic that would pop up. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's still, the people are still reluctant, still hesitant.
I mean, so far I've just gotten praises.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Mhm. Well, can we talk a bit about the on-screen performances between Josh and Phillip? This is a very strong relationship, and it's a relationship that really had to have some chemistry to work. Was there a process, Phillip, in order to, you know, connect on a emotional and a level that could come across the screen as legitimate? Because as we know, the camera rarely lies.
Yeah, it was quite the process that both me and Josh went through together, and I'm very grateful to have had Josh, who's a very open and trustworthy and very just vulnerable person to work with. And we also had our incredible acting coach Claudia Urirt was on set with us, and so we were running all of these different rehearsals, the three of us, and going through all of these different motions. And there was definitely a lot of preparation that went into it, but even with that amount of preparation, it cannot be replaced by Josh. And so it was really just a combination of preparation and then also just an incredible partner to work across from.
Josh, your thoughts on that?
Well, Phillip kind of took everything I wanted to say out of my mouth, so ditto.
Yeah, I have a feeling, Phillip, I'm going to start with Josh from this point on and then move on. You know,
Start with Avery. Start with Avery.
Go to Avery. Yeah, exactly. Avery, what about your process then? Yeah, you work too with the acting coach on set?
Yeah, Claudia's amazing. She really helped me like learn more about being an actor, because like with it being one of my first bigger films, like I'm still not as good as either Josh or Phillip, so she really got me like up there to the level of acting that I wanted to be at. She really helped.
You happy with what you saw on screen then, Avery?
Very.
That's good. I mean, seasoned actors sometimes have a really hard time with that. Where are you living there, Avery? Where are we speaking to you now?
Nova Scotia.
You're in Nova Scotia. And what about you, Josh?
I'm currently in Montreal.
And Phillip?
Undisclosed location number 5.
So, okay, so we got you all across the, well, at least the east side of the country. The one thing I wanted to ask you guys as well, first of all, when I talked to Brett about the film, and I mentioned that in both cases, the two male leads, I said, you've got really great on-screen stars there. And he hushed me and says, please don't let them know. So he recognizes that you two have really strong on-screen personality and presence. So it naturally leads me to wonder what is happening for you since this film. Has it opened other doors? Phillip?
I guess all you can really hope for when you do something like this and tell a story that's so personal to Brett is just you hope that it'll affect people in the ways that you want it to, and sometimes in the negative ways too, and that's still okay. I know I've gotten kind of mixed different messages from different people, and some people love it and other people have their own opinions on it, and but either way they were both equally affected in some way, which is really interesting. And
yeah, that is good. A negative response is not necessarily a bad one.
Exactly.
I wonder about those negative responses. Was it simply the material that they were sort of got their back against the wall, or?
I think it's a combination of things. I think that this film really forces people to look deep inside themselves, and that makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. And so it's not sometimes people's natural responses in those situations are to attack whoever triggered that in them. And so yeah, without going into too much detail, it's just different from person to person, but just a wide range of different emotions and stuff.
Has that been your experience, Josh, that people have sort of mixed reviews on this, or have they been pretty positive with you?
It's been pretty positive with me. I mean, I just kind of don't tune into the noise.
That's a good thing to do. Avery, I'm going to trust that Avery, everybody has been positive with you. I think it would be cruel if they've been otherwise.
Yeah, it's been really positive for me. Like all the people that I've talked to about it have been like, "Oh, that's really cool." Like,
yeah, it's a really strong film, and you guys have had the added honor, I guess, to be included in the as a potential CSA winner. Would you do all three of you? Any of you plan on coming to Toronto for the CSA Awards?
Sure.
Definitely, I hope that we see it in person. One of my really good friends, Akel, is hosting it, so I'd really like to get together and to see all the crew again. That would be really cool to be together physically again. I don't know if they're going to be doing it online or in person yet, but
right. You know, it's funny. I already forgot about COVID, thinking that it would be in person. Avery, continuing on in this career, or do you think you have other plans for yourself?
I have plans to keep doing acting, but it is not my number one priority. I really want to do good in school, and I have a lot of other backup plans just in case, but I'm trying to see where I'm headed. So
But what about your parents? Are they in the industry at all? What got you in this first?
I actually got into the industry just because I met Garrett and Brett when I did the short film, and that's why I stuck around with it. My dad used to do a bit of acting when he was younger, but it wasn't really a drive for me to do it. It just kind of happened, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put time into this.
Excellent. I'm really glad. I would really liked your performance. I do. Before I let you guys go, I want to talk a little bit about Joel Thomas Heinz, who I think is one of the great actors from the East Coast. Working off of him, and meeting him. He is he's not at all like any person I've seen him perform on stage. I mean, or on screen. He's a real gentle, quiet soul and a great musician. So working particularly, I think maybe this might apply to you, Avery, in some way, and then again to Phillip, working with him and having him have this layered anger to him, that could be frightening. How does someone deal with that? Avery, I'm speaking directly to you now, someone who is younger, and having to deal with that kind of hostility. I mean, even though it's acting, it still has to resonate somehow.
I mean, yes, a lot of it was very scary for me because like I mean, sometimes when I was younger, I would like freak out and I'd be like, oh, I was not expecting him to like jump up and start yelling, but I knew him off screen. Like I know what he's like, so it kind of toned it down for me because he's a big teddy bear.
So what's it like when the camera stops then? Does he console you? Does he make an effort to say, hope you're okay, Avery? I mean, does he stay in character?
No, he like understands to make sure that I'm okay, but like it was never really too much of a worry. I was never really too scared.
Excellent. And then the other person that comes into mind, someone we're going to see very shortly in Firestarter, which is Michael Grey Eyes, also a performer that I really loved and really just got to recognize him from Blood Quantum, which sort of he stood out in. Working with someone like him, Joel, He is someone who's been around for a while. He is someone who has a history. And did he have any advice for you, or did he, you know, were you guys working on the same level? How was that relationship?
Sorry, is that for me to answer, or who's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Josh. I said Joel and I meant Josh. Sorry.
Oh, I heard Joel. I was like, huh. I don't like.
Who's Joel?
I was like trying to differentiate that question. I was like, okay. So yeah, my first time seeing Michael Grey Eyes, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of, my palms were sweaty.
Yeah.
I was excited to see him. I revered him and watched him movies growing up as a kid. And so I just try to keep my cool. And yeah, I remember just like, you know, having like quick chats, like small chat with Michael Grey Eyes here and there. But I remember seeing him in Los Angeles and hearing him say that he gave me some words, and it touched me in my soul, and I'm gonna remember it for the rest of my life.
Wow. That is one. I guess the words that he told you or said to you is between you and him.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep it at that, but that's great. I'm glad that happened. Phillip, your connection with Michael, and I guess Joel too. You had scenes with him as well.
Yeah, so I'll start with Joel and then finish off with Michael. But Joel was like Avery said, he was such a teddy bear, and he actually brought his little puppy to set every day, and he'd be reading in between takes, and we'd have discussions and conversations. But I just remember specifically him being very disturbed personally by some of the scenes that we were shooting, and constantly checking in with me, because obviously we had a lot of physical abuse that we had to get through together, and we actually shot a lot more of Joel than what you see in the movie. There was a lot of his character that was cut out, which was unfortunate. There were a lot of scenes that were cut out of that movie, period, but specifically it just didn't bring out the best in the characters or something. He did a phenomenal job, and I hope to get those scenes one day just to watch him. But yeah, he's just a completely different person than the character.
Yeah.
And then Michael was really cool. He's just got such a swagger to him, and like his character is so cool. And I remember me and Josh were on a Zoom call when we first met him, and yeah, just a really genuine human being. And again, you know, he just always has these words that really stick with you, and yeah, just so much fun to work with, and I wish we could have shot more with him.
Well, I have a feeling your careers are going to continue on quite well, and that the opportunity to work with these actors again could very well show up. So I really do want to thank the three of you for joining us. And I do have to say, it really is a great piece of work. The performances are stunning. The direction is great. The cinematography by Guy Godfrey is phenomenal. So congratulations on a job well done. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.